Hello and welcome to the Dentrepreneur Show.
Hi, Dr. D. Todd Russell here, Dentrepreneur. I'm on the podcast today, and we're just spending a few minutes talking about some fun facts about me. As you learn to listen to me, hear my voice, in some case drone on, or if you're watching on YouTube and you happen to see me. But let's start off with a couple of things. Probably one of my most proud things that I've done as far as a clinician or in the dental world or the business world was for about 20 seasons, I was a pro hockey team dentist. Minor league pro hockey in Cleveland, Ohio, the Cleveland Lumberjacks, and then eventually the Lake Erie Monsters, and now they're called the Cleveland Monsters. And it was a wild ride. I had the good fortune of being a resident in Cleveland at a level 1 trauma center, where, as those of you that went through those processes, you know, you're not just a dentist. There are days where you're an oral surgeon, you're an orthopedic surgeon, you're a general surgeon, you scrub in on a lot of things. And as I like to say, a shotgun wound to the face quickly teaches you a lot of anatomy and a whole lot of other things. Well, that turned into, or I parlayed that into finding out who was the team dentist in the mid-90s in Cleveland for the local minor league hockey team, got introduced to him, and that launched my career. And it was a fun career. As a kid growing up in Buffalo, New York, you know, I kid everybody that it's frozen 13 months out of the year and there's nothing to do but play hockey. It was my passion. And professionally, it became my passion. My children, for the most part, all wound up playing hockey, and it was just a wonderful experience. In 2016, I had the really good fortune being the team dentist, along with a chiropractor, an orthopedic surgeon, and a concussion gen med specialist. We got to travel with the team for playoff run. And in 2016, we won the whole thing. We won what's called the Calder Cup at that level. And it was professionally and personally one of the top 10 highlights of my life. I have 3 wonderful children. I've been married for 30 years. So, you know, you strike all those things certainly into the top 10, but this one fits in the, 7, 8, 9, 10 area for certain. So that's a pretty fun fact. The other fun fact is I am now on my 3rd Mastiff, English Mastiff. So we've raised 3 wonderful children who are now, as I like to say, contributing members to society. But more recently, my wife and I somehow got bored with I don't know what, but we now have a 6-month-old English Mastiff. So this is the 3rd one. None of them were ever together, but I'm a big dog person. And I mean, not just big in that I love dogs, but then I also love big dogs. And this guy is huge, and he's going to be probably the biggest one of the 3. So I've had 20 years between the first 2, never together. They were always one passed, and a year or 2 later, we got the second one, and we've been about 5-6 years without one more recently, but just love the breed. And the fun fact is the story of how I became involved in learning about the English Mastiff. So a number of years ago, early 90s, there was a catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays named Pat Borders. And at the time, his wife was a U.S. Olympian synchronized swimmer, or trying to be on the Olympics team. And anyhow, there was an article in Sports Illustrated about the 2 of them and the future they were building together. They were building a house, I believe, was out in California. And he was in Toronto, and she was, let's say, in Colorado Springs at the training center. And they were living this life apart while trying to build the life for the future. And this article and the pictures morphed into more and more the pictures and discussions about their dog. It was an English Mastiff. I was about to be married. My wife grew up without dogs. I grew up with dogs. And I said, from Buffalo, New York, to move to Cleveland, Ohio, where she was from, I said, if I have to move to Cleveland, my only request is that we get a dog. She sheepishly said, sure. And then I pointed the picture in the article, and I said, this dog. And she turned ghostly white for a minute, recovered, and said, okay, could we go see one? So we went to a dog show where there was 6 or 8 of them, and they were all giant, and I couldn't get enough of them. And in her loving way, she accepted it. And so a couple years later, we moved to Cleveland, and we would have our first English Mastiff. So a couple of fun facts there. I guess the other fun fact, I don't know if it's a fun fact, but I'm very proud of my children. I have 3 wonderful children. I have a son who is a private net wealth or financial advisor, private net wealth manager. I have a daughter who is a physician's assistant. And then finally, I have a daughter who is an architect and builds sports stadiums and arenas around the world, or helps with that. So that's a little bit about me. I look forward to spending some more time talking less about me and more about my guests and about helping you strategize for your future.
Thank you for joining us. Please follow or subscribe to this show on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. If you would like further information or to meet with me one-on-one and discuss your practice, please feel free to contact me through my website, dentrepreneurllc.com. Many more exciting guests and topics are headed your way.